Today, we'll be discussing on physiology and nutrition of carbohydrates. Let's see the introduction. The human body has been uniquely designed and developed to solve three basic survival problems. First, energy to do work. Second, materials to bring and maintain the form. And third, agents to control the process efficiently. The food which we use daily includes rice, wheat, dal, vegetables, fish, meat, sugar, fruits, butter, oils, etc. These different foods are made up of a number of chemical components called nutrients, which are classified according to their chemical compositions. Each nutrient has its own function, but the various nutrients must act in unison for effective action. The nutrients found in the food are carbohydrates, proteins, fats, minerals, vitamins, and water. Energy is primarily necessary for life. It is the power an organism must have to do work. Any energy system to be successful must provide four basic components. First, a basic fuel. Second, a means of changing this basic fuel to a refined fuel that the machine is designed to use. Third, a means of carrying this refined fuel to the energy production sites, and a means of burning the fuel at the production site to produce energy. In the human energy system, these major basic fuels come from carbohydrates. Now, let's have a look at carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are composed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. They are in the ratio 1:2:1. Hydrogen and oxygen, they have the same ratio that of water. They are the main source of energy for our body and the only source of energy for nervous tissues. Animals break down carbohydrate during the process of metabolism to release energy. Example, the chemical metabolism of sugar, that is glucose, is that glucose, when combined with oxygens, it gives water plus oxygen plus energy. Animals obtain carbohydrate by eating foods that contain them. For example, potatoes, rice, bread, and so on. These carbohydrates are manufactured by plants during the process of photosynthesis. Plant harvest energy from sunlight to run reaction just described as above in the reverse way, like water and energy from the sunlight. Plants take water and energy from sunlight to give carbohydrate plus oxygen. Carbohydrates are chemically known as saccharides, as carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen form saccharide groups. Carbohydrates are classified based on the number of saccharide groups in them as monosaccharide, disaccharide, and polysaccharides. First, let's have a look at monosaccharide. The simplest form of carbohydrate is the monosaccharide, often called as simple sugar or single sugar. The three main monosaccharides important in human nutrition are glucose, fructose, and galactose. First, glucose. This is the structure of glucose, C6H12O6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbon, 12 hydrogen and 6 oxygen. This is a monosaccharide. It contains a single sugar unit. Glucose, a moderately sweet sugar. Glucose is found naturally preformed in only few foods such as corn syrup. It is mainly created in the body from starch digestion. Glucose is the ultimate common refined body fuel that is oxidized in the cells to give energy. Next, fructose. The sweetest of the simple sugar, fructose is found in fruits and other substances such as honey. In the human metabolism, fructose is converted to glucose to be burned for energy. Next, galactose. The simplest sugar, galactose, is not found in foods but is produced in human digestion from lactose, that is milk sugar, and is then changed to glucose for energy. This reaction is reversible, and during lactation, glucose may be converted to galactose for use in milk production. Next, we'll see disaccharides. The disaccharides are simple sugar composed of two monosaccharides units linked together. The three main disaccharides of physiologic importance are sucrose, lactose, and maltose. First, we'll see sucrose. This is fructose plus glucose. This is sucrose. Sucrose is a disaccharide, two sugar units. Sucrose is the common table sugar made commercially from sugarcane and sugar beets. It is the most prevalent disaccharide. Sucrose can be found in all forms of common sugar, in molasses, and in some fruits and vegetables such as pineapple and carrots. Lactose. The sugar in milk is called lactose because of its source. It is formed in the body from glucose to supply the needed sugar component of milk during lactation. It is the least sweet of the disaccharide. Maltose. Maltose occur in the commercial malt products of starch breakdown and in germinating cereal grains. As such, it is a negligible carbohydrates. Polysaccharides. They are the complex carbohydrates which are made up of many single sugar units. The most important polysaccharide in human nutrition is starch. Other forms are glycogen and dextrin. We'll see the structure of starch. Starch is formed by linking together many units of glucose. This is one unit of glucose. It links with another unit of glucose. Many units of glucose, they are linked together to form a complex structure called starch. In human nutrition, starch is by far the most significant polysaccharide. It is a relatively large complex compound made up of coiled or branching chains of simple sugar, that is, glucose units. It yields only glucose on digestion. The cooking of starch not only improves its flavor, but also softens and ruptures the starch shells, which make the digestion easier. Starch is also by far the most important source of dietary carbohydrate worldwide. The major food source of starch include cereal grains, legumes, potatoes, and other vegetables. Glycogen. The animal storage compound comparable to starch in plant is glycogen. It is formed during cell metabolism and is stored in a relatively small amount in the liver and muscle tissues. This storage helps sustain normal blood glucose level during fasting periods such as sleep hours and provide immediate fuel for muscle action. Next, dextrin. Dextrin are polysaccharide compound formed as intermediate product in the breakdown of starch. This starch breakdown occurs constantly in the process of digestion. Now, let's see the dietary fiber. Dietary fiber may be classified into three groups according to structures and properties. First, cellulose is the chief constituent of the framework of plant. The main food sources are stems and leaves, vegetables, seeds and grains covering skin and hulls. Next is the non-cellulose groups, which includes hemicellulose, pectins, gums, mucilage and algal salps. They absorb water and slow gastric emptying time. They also prevent colon pressure by providing bulk for normal intestinal muscle action. Lignin. It is a non-carbohydrate type of dietary fiber that forms the woody part of plant. In the intestine, it combines with bile acid to form insoluble compound, thus preventing their absorption. Now let's see the food sources of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are synthesized by plants and occur in several forms. Starch is found in plant seeds such as cereals, pulses, roots and tuber, sugar in fruits, honey, plant sap or juices like of sugarcane, beetroot and palm, and in vegetables such as corn and peas. Cereals supply the major part of the energy in the Indian dietary. The structural carbohydrates of vegetables and fruits are cellulose and polysaccharide. These are not digested but aid in the movement of food through the digestive tract by maintenance of muscle tone and by their physical capacity to bind water. Now, we'll see the digestion, absorption and metabolism of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are broken down and absorbed within the digestive tract. Various enzymes work in different areas of the digestive tract to promote breakdown of carbohydrates. The enzymatic digestion of starch begins in the mouth. It is continued in the stomach, where hydrochloric acid aids in the hydrolysis, and then is continued in the small intestine, where digestion is completed. The monosaccharides are in the forms which favor absorption without any preliminary body reaction, whereas the more complex product must be broken down. It has been assumed that the hydrolysis of disaccharide is carried out completely in the lumen of intestine, but studies also indicate that breakdown also occurs in the cells of the mucous membrane of small intestines. As for cellulose, no enzymatic changes occur in the human body. However, mastication cuts the fiber into small sections and the stomach acid may soften them. Let's see the metabolism. The general term metabolism refers to the sum of the various chemical processes in the living organism by which energy is made available for functioning of a whole organism. It also includes processes by which basic structure of cells and tissues are built, maintained or break down to be rebuilt. Products of specific metabolic processes are called metabolites. In cell nutrition, the most important end product of carbohydrate digestion is glucose. Since the other two monosaccharides, fructose and galactose, are eventually converted to glucose, the liver is the major site of the intricate metabolic machinery that handles glucose. However, energy metabolism in general goes in all cells. This individual cell's glucose is burned to produce energy through a series of chemical reactions involving specific cell enzymes. The final energy produced is then available to the cells to do work. Extra glucose, not immediately needed for energy, may also be changed to fat and stored as a reserve fuel. Now, we'll see the physiological functions of carbohydrates. First, the main function of carbohydrate in the body is to provide energy or fuel for body. Each grams of sugar or starch give about 4 calories of energy to the body. Energy from carbohydrate is utilized by the body for immediate use. Number 2, carbohydrates have protective and detoxifying action in the liver. Liver is protected against bacterial toxins by producing glycuronic acid or acetyl groups from carbohydrates. Point number 3, carbohydrates, especially lactose, help in the growth of desirable bacteria in the small intestine and helps the synthesis of some B-complex vitamins in the intestinal tract. Lactose also helps in the absorption of calcium. Number 4, continuous supply of carbohydrate is essential for nervous tissue to function normally. Glucose, as such, has a specific influence in maintaining the functional integrity of nervous tissues. Number 5, if carbohydrate supply is enough in the diet, protein is spared for important function of it. This effect, excreted by carbohydrate, is called protein sparing effect. Insufficient carbohydrate intake forces amino acid to be deaminated and converted to fatty acids for energy production. Next, number 6, carbohydrates are used as the most efficient fuel for muscular exercise. Glycogen stored in the heart muscle is used for this purpose, especially in an emergency. Number 7, carbon skeleton of carbohydrate is used by the body for the synthesis of non-essential amino acid. Number 8, carbohydrate is essential for the oxidation of fats. Number 9, carbohydrate provides flavor and a variety to the diet. Cellulose and other indigestible polysaccharides add bulk to the diet. It also retains water of colon, which helps intestinal motility. Next, see the recommended dietary intake. A minimum of 100 gram carbohydrate are essential in the diet to ensure the efficient oxidation of fats. Most diets supply more than this amount. If carbohydrate foods are consumed in excess, the body needs the excess, is converted into fats, and is stored as reserve. ICMR, that is, Indian Council of Medical Research, has not given any specific recommendation for carbohydrate. However, in a balanced diet, 60% of total calories can be from carbohydrate. Deficiency. If less than required amount carbohydrate is consumed, the body first burns its own fat and then its tissue protein for heat and energy. To prevent this, daily diet must supply the required amount of carbohydrate regularly. Next, we'll see the conclusion. From this talk, we came to the conclusion that the human body requires energy to do work. This energy is provided by the food we consume daily. The food contains various nutrients like carbohydrate, proteins, fats, minerals, water, and vitamins. Carbohydrates are the main sources of energy. Animals break down carbohydrate during metabolism to release energy. A minimum of 100 gram carbohydrate in the diet is essential for efficient oxidation of fats. Excess as well as limited use in the diet is not recommended. So, in a balanced diet, 60% of the total calories should be from carbohydrate.